What up, YouTube, and welcome into the Cardboard Critics Sports Card Podcast here at the Hollywood Rip Studio, the show where we talk what cards have been hot, what cards have been cold, and which cards you should take a look at that have investment potential moving forward in the short and long term. Thanks for joining us. As always, I'm Mr. Hollywood. That's Joe Nasty to my right. We've got a mix of all the major sports this week, so let's get right into it. First hot card of the week, it is Detroit Tigers outfielder Max Clark. Bats left, throws left. His 2023 Bowman Draft Chrome first PSA 10 is up 58.8% over the past 2 weeks to $40 per card. This was a $25 card just 2 weeks ago. What has he done in the minors at high A? He's hitting .282 so far this year with 9 home runs, 75 RBIs, and 29 stolen bases with an .810 OPS. Of course, he was drafted in the 2023 draft, third overall behind Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz, who are now in...
First name basis.
Yeah, who are now, as you all know, in the majors. Once again, thank you to Celsius. We are...
gluten-free.
In much need. Be careful with the Celsius, guys.
Dude.
It will get you beyond belief. But I love Max Clark. I really do.
Nice.
And I think, and maybe I think he's ready for Double A.
Yeah, I was gonna say not the majors.
No. I think he's ready. I think he's ready for Double A. I'm actually a little confused why he's still in High A. Maybe I get it. 19 years old.
Yeah.
But the Tigers are really in need. They are really in need of some offensive help.
Anything, honestly.
And I think your first year in the minors, if you're hitting close to 300 with an over 800 OPS, and this dude has a lot of speed too. He can affect the game on the base paths. I think Max Clark does need to be challenged a little more, in my opinion. I think he should be in Double A. A lot of people argue that Double A is the hardest level of the minors.
I agree with that.
What do you think of Max Clark and his cards?
Yeah. Have you seen him? Like, just a picture of him?
Yeah.
He looks like the TikTok version of a bit like the TikTok generation is just about here.
Yeah.
The kid is 19 years old.
Yep.
He's jacked.
Yeah.
He's tatted. He's tatted up. Mm-hmm. And he's engaged.
Congratulations to him.
Yeah, which I was... Don't judge a book by its cover. I was like, this kid's engaged. This kid really is confident. I would say
I'm engaged.
And you are confident. but are you tatted up? No. Max Clark has a sleeve.
Not that you know of.
No, there's a reason he wears shirts up to here every time. Because other than that...
I am all tats from here. Everywhere you don't see is tats.
Have you seen? That's what Kevin Durant does for marketing. Kevin Durant is fully tatted on his torso and his back, but he doesn't tat up his arms.
On his arms.
Because for marketing, he tries to avoid it. Regardless, if I had to guess, the reason that Max Clark is not being promoted higher at the moment is because the power is still not quite there. He didn't really show power in high school. His bat-to-ball skills are unbelievable. You can just tell that by the averages in high A, and he hit close to 700 before he got drafted in high school, but that's what you got to do when you're that much better. Look, in terms of the pricing, in terms of the increase, this is clearly a next-in-line thing, as Skeens and Cruz are now big leaguers.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Great hit tool, good speed. We'll see about the power. I think that's what's essentially...
You think it's the power that's holding him back?
I do. It's tough to say something's holding a kid back, but he's 19. He's going to keep growing and get stronger.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, a lot of these kids, let's be honest, they're so raw when they're teenagers.
He's 19. He's a kid.
And a lot of them do grow into power. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I get it. I still think Max Clark, as a prospect in general, is a fantastic prospect. I honestly have no problems at these prices investing in Max Clark.
For context, I think in his final high school year, he hit 8 or 9 home runs, which for a kid who's that much better than everyone he's playing with, maybe you'd love... This is just me projecting. Maybe you'd love to see a little bit more power, but he can hit the ball.
But they're only playing 25, 30 games.
Tough to say. Just for a guy who got drafted 3rd overall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I hear you. Well, we're going to move to our second hot card of the week, and that one is Denver Broncos quarterback Bo Nix. His 2023 Bowman Chrome U prospect autograph in raw and PSA 10 condition. The raw was up 176% to $138. $50 that card was 2 weeks ago. His PSA 10 is up 31% to $299. It was about $240, $250 2 weeks ago. Of course, it was announced that Bo Nix would be the Denver starter in week 1. What did he do in the preseason? He threw for 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He looked pretty good. He looked pretty good in the preseason. He looked darn good in college between Auburn and Oregon. What did he do in college? Keep in mind, huge numbers, but keep in mind, he had a COVID year.
True.
He did have an extra year.
You did.
15,352 yards through the air, 113 touchdowns to just 26 picks with a rating of 149.6. He rushed for over 1,600 yards and rushed for 38 touchdowns in college. Of course, Oregon just about as dynamic of an offense as you could possibly be in terms of a system.
Yes.
What do I think about Bo Nix? I think Bo Nix, I actually think he's one of the more intriguing quarterback prospects from this year's past draft.
Sure.
But I just don't think he has the weapons around him to be successful in terms of like, let's jump in on the invest on Bo Nix train, because I mean, Javonte Williams is his running back. Javonte's above average for sure, but he's not like a total game changer.
No.
Cortland Sutton is his best receiver. Cortland is, I put Cortland Sutton and Javonte Williams in this. I would rather have those guys than a lot of people. But neither of those guys am I like, yeah, we're going to be explosive
as
this
like
year.
your number one option.
As like your number one option. And at the end of the day, the Broncos are just not, the Broncos have just been so bad that I don't think Bo Nix alone pushes this team to the next level. So for me, I get why he's a hot card. You know, he's gonna make the start. This is one of the most storied franchises in all of football.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Bo Nix?
A lot. And by the way, his first ever start as a rookie is at Seattle. So welcome to the NFL. One of the best home field advantages. One of the noisiest crowds with that roof.
Welcome to the NFL. Here's the 12th man.
Also, hate the Broncos' new uniforms. It's just it's modern trash. Yeah, it's so easy. Look at what they have in terms of throwbacks. Just play off that. Keep the same. It's whatever. He did what he had to do in Oregon, right?
Yeah.
He put up huge numbers and, as you said, a dynamic system. But here's the thing. We're in the most offensive era of football, period. And I don't mean that as like it offends me. I mean that in the terms of...
You mean like explosiveness?
Yes. Like you cannot touch a receiver after 5 yards. Like it's never been easier to get a pass interference. Like the windows, the timing. You're putting up more points. You're putting up more yards than we've ever seen.
Right.
So you need to put up those numbers to get noticed, and he did. So credit to Bo Nix for doing as he should have. I'm going to give him the same critique, though, I gave of Anthony Richardson, which is I want my QB to actually have done something. So what did Bo Nix do of Auburn at note? Nothing. Didn't win anything of note at Auburn. Truly. I don't think he ever beat Alabama in an Iron Bowl. Mm-hmm. I may be wrong. I'm just spitballing here. Mm-hmm. But last year, a ton of blowouts, a ton of numbers for Oregon. Like, I think they scored 60-plus points a couple times. Their first game of the year against a Cupcake, they put up like close to 80. But when it mattered most, and this is a team that could have gone to the playoff, he went 0-2 with good numbers. Don't get me wrong, with pretty good numbers. But he went 0-2 against arch rival Washington, won in the rivalry game, and again in the Pac-12 championship game.
I mean, that was like the Heisman game. Whoever won that game was going to win the Heisman.
Or at least come up second to Jaden Daniels.
Right.
And Penix came out on top. And if people don't necessarily love Penix as an NFL prospect because of his age and injuries, then why should I feel better about Bo Nix?
Realistically, on a team that's worse.
Penix did have NFL wide receivers, but overall, yes.
But I'm saying even if Penix were to start this year, he has way more weapons than Bo Nix does.
Oh, in Atlanta? Yeah, for sure.
I would rather personally buy a Michael Penix card in the event that Kirk Cousins gets hurt than buy Bo Nix.
I agree.
Right?
Mm-hmm, I agree.
We actually agree on something. Shocker. But we're going to move now from hot to cold. What cards have been cold this week? Let's start with LA Angels. I can't say LA. Let's start with Anaheim Angels outfielder Mike Trout.
Guy who plays in Anaheim.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes.
Mike Trout's 2011 Topps Update rookie card in the PSA 10 is down 21.7% over the past 2 weeks. It is now $740 if you want to purchase that card. It was $890 2 weeks ago. Where was it a year ago? It was $1,000 a year ago. Where was it in 2022 and 2023?
Wow.
It was between $1,500 and $1,800 a card. Of course, Mike Trout is out for the season with a torn meniscus. I've done a couple posts about Mike Trout, and if he had been healthy in his career and had played the games that he has missed, including the end of this year, I averaged out the numbers. If Mike Trout had stayed healthy, at the end of this season, he would be sitting at 527 career home runs.
Yeah.
At what, 33 years old?
He is 32 right now.
At 32 years old, which leaves another probably 2 to 3 years of, let's call it prime. You can always DH him eventually.
Yeah, true.
If he were sitting at 527 career home runs, I'd say A, he's a lock to hit 600.
Yeah.
Like a lock. And B, I would say there's a 50% chance that this guy hits 700.
It would have been tough, but
No, it would have been tough, but it's Mike Trout.
It's Mike Trout.
Healthy Mike Trout, right? And sure, you could argue, oh, well, this team just puts no one around him. But let's be honest, the Angels, it's not like, I will give Artie Moreno a little credit in saying that it's not that he hasn't tried.
Oh, he's tried.
They gave a huge contract to Josh Hamilton, which was a huge mistake.
Rendon.
They gave a huge contract to Pujols, who that contract was also a huge mistake. They gave a huge contract to Rendon. Rendon is the biggest joke of a baseball player of all time.
C.J. Wilson.
At this point. But C.J. Wilson was a badass.
Yeah.
They gave a huge contract to Mike Trout.
Ohtani.
I'm sure they offered Ohtani a crazy amount too. He just didn't want to play for them because they weren't winning. Mike Trout, I want to talk about Mike Trout because well, obviously we're already talking about him. His cards are going to keep kind of inching their way down, I think. And I think ultimately, look, he's at 380-something career homers or something like that. I think Mike Trout, with his injury history, might be lucky to hit 500. Like, I think he has to be lucky to hit 500, which is a shame for a guy who, talent-wise, when healthy from the batter's box and on that field, in my opinion, is one of the best 10 players of all time in terms of just straight up talent on the field. I think Mike Trout is one of the 10 best ever. Would I buy one of his cards right now? No. Because I think they're going to go down further. And to be honest with you, I do think he will be in the Hall of Fame, but
well, yeah.
I think Mike Trout cards will continue to drop over the next couple years because age does not help the injury risk. I think this card, even at $740, I think it'll be $500 at this time next year. That's just my thought. What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on Mike Trout?
It just sucks. He's played 111 games combined the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
He was still very, very good in 2022, and he was on his way to something really special in 2021. But that's when the major, like he's always gotten nicked up every year.
Yeah.
But the major injury started up in 2021. He'll be 33 next year, as we talked about. As we know, trust me, this is not the time of your life where injuries and recovery start to get easier.
Right.
It just really sucks. Like, I could see value going up because if there's anyone you could put faith into in like coming back and doing something crazy after all these injuries, it would be Mike Trout. To what you said, yes, if you like sort of remove Ohtani from like every discussion, Mike Trout's the best player of our generation.
Yeah.
And like
when healthy.
Yeah, he precedes Ohtani. So what he was doing before Shohei got to MLB was truly special. He was the Mickey Mantle of the modern era.
Right.
At least the numbers said so. Did you see that squeeze attempt the Angels tried to do last night?
No.
So they had the perfect suicide squeeze, and I swear there's a point to this. They had a perfect suicide squeeze. The guy was going to be safe if the ball was just anywhere like 2 feet away from the plate, but the bunt went straight down and spun on home plate. And so the catcher picked up the ball, tagged out the runner coming from third, and then threw out the hitter. And I was just like, if this is not the perfect epitome of the Angels,
right now.
Everything is set up so well. You put in the money, you put in the effort. You have Mike Trout, you have Shohei Ohtani. You sign Pujols in his like 30s before he really gets decrepit, and it just doesn't work. Artie Moreno tries to sell the team. It doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
Like everything almost is perfect, and then it just doesn't work out.
Explodes in their face.
Yeah, so that's Mike. Yeah. I do think, and I'll check. Yeah.
No, you're good.
I think there's something to be said about Mike Trout's attitude. Mm-hmm. Like he's been in the playoffs. He has no RBIs
once.
And I think he's just very comfortable putting up huge numbers, being rich, living in anonymity. Yeah. Wow, say that 3 times fast. In Newport Beach, and not really caring.
Yeah, I don't think he really cares. At the end of the day, I don't think he really cares. If he really cared about winning,
he would have left.
He would have demanded a trade. He just doesn't care. It is what it is. It is.
You saw him in the World Baseball Classic versus Ohtani, right?
Yeah, swing
exactly.
And a miss. Yeah. Swing and a miss, and I know Japan won that, but in terms of emotion, did Mike Trout show a ton of emotion
Have you ever seen him smile?
World Baseball Classic? Yeah, no. Like Ohtani showed a heck of a lot of emotion at the World Baseball Classic, even before retiring Mike Trout for the last out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I think Shohei just cares way more about winning than Trout does at the end of the day, which is why I ain't buying on Mike Trout.
Long way to say, I ain't buying.
But let's move into our next cold card of the week, and that is Anthony Edwards, of course, guard for the Minnesota Timberwolves. His 2020 Prism Silver rookie card in the PSA 10 is down 15.5% to $927. It was $1,000 about 2 weeks ago. Of course, this was a $1,800 card during the conference finals last year, when, of course, they failed to advance to the NBA Finals, but had an epic comeback the round before just to get to the conference finals. And look, the NBA season we are now really mid-off season.
Yeah.
They're lucky that it was an Olympic year.
Yes.
Because the Olympics kind of buoyed basketball a little bit, but now we're back on the downhill. But let's be honest, Ant was I don't want to say Ant was like a non-factor on that Olympic team.
He had his moments.
He had his moments, but he just gets so overshadowed at the end of the day by LeBron and Curry and Durant.
Yeah.
Because they've just been around for so long. And then we had that whole issue where he like criticized, I think didn't he like criticize or say something along the lines of like like Michael Jordan was not that great of a defender or something.
I don't recall that one. I'll have to look it up later.
I think there was something like he said like Jordan was not that great a defender or something, and then someone chimed in and said, a Hall of Famer chimed in and said something along the lines of like, I don't know if this was Ant, maybe it was someone else, maybe I'm confusing it. but said something along the lines of like, "Oh, we only take the opinions of people who have like won championships."
He said Michael Jordan was the only player with skill. So
the only player with skill.
He appreciated Jordan, but no one else.
Yeah, that's what it was. He said Jordan was the only player with skill in his generation.
Right. So that takes shots at like John Stockton, Carmelo.
Yeah, and saying basically that like, oh, what I'm doing is way harder, and so like I'm way more skilled than everyone in that generation except for Michael Jordan.
The 90s were pretty rough and tumble.
The bottom line, Ant's got a big mouth. I think that part is not debatable. He's got a big mouth. This is a cocky guy. This is a very cocky kid. The talent is insane.
Very.
His team is insane.
Yeah.
He will be back in a conference finals or a finals at some point. I do think if you have the ability to hold this card long term, say for like a year, 2 years, 3 years, you don't need the money now. I'm actually kind of okay with someone buying this card at like $800.
Oh yeah.
Or like $900. And then just kind of waiting until he makes another conference finals or finals, and then just selling it for like $1,500, $2,000, like it was when they got there before. It will happen again for Ant. I don't like his personality, but what are your thoughts on Anthony Edwards' cards being down?
That's just a young, brash basketball player. This is just the doldrums of the NBA season, as you said.
Right.
And we're now past people caring about the Olympics, which again, they don't care about the Olympics anymore. Right. Remember that. So hop on while you can. I'm with you. Like, I said this before the Western Conference Finals. This is probably about as low as his value will be for a while. Because once he takes the floor again and he starts throwing down windmills, his value is going to explode again.
I think it could get down to 800, 700, 800.
But before the season starts.
Once we're within 3 weeks of the season starting, this will be $1,000 card again.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, as people don't care about basketball anymore, and like football is starting, and there's a ton of enthusiasm. Yeah, no one's going to care about Anthony Edwards and his value and this. Like, he's not LeBron, he's not Curry, he's not calendar proof, is what I'm saying.
Right.
So yeah, get in now, because once the Timberwolves take the floor, he's gonna pop.
I'm with you. And just as always, just in terms of sports card investment advice, period, guys, you always want to buy in the off season. You just do.
Sure.
The true formula is buy in the off season at off season lows. Wait for the season, sell during the season, during whatever season high that might be. If Ant goes out and scores 60, sell the card the next day. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
So that's just my thought on Ant. I don't have a problem with anyone buying this at $900. I really don't. But we're going to move now into our invest question mark segment of this week's show. And big card number one is Miami Dolphins running back Devon Achane. I think that's how you say it. I've heard it said so many different ways. But his 2023 Prism Silver in a PSA 10, that card is down 25% over the past 6 months. Not a shocker, because the past 6 months were off season, guys. Hello.
Yeah,
that's why it's down 25%. But this is a $60 card now. Let me compare him to a contemporary, Bijan Robinson, who is sitting at $160 a card. Do we think Bijan Robinson is 2.5 times better than Devon Achane? In my opinion, no. What did Devon Achane do in 2023? Well, he played in 11 games. He only attempted 103 carries, which is like half the amount of what we'd consider a workhorse. He had 800 yards, 8 touchdowns, a 7.8 yards per carry, 27 catches for 197 yards and 3 touchdowns. Of course, he runs the 40 in 4.32. Yeah. This dude is fast. He's like lightning. This dude is lightning. Anytime he catches the ball or has the ball handed to him, you truly have no idea what is about to happen. That 7.8 yards per carry is the highest yards per carry in NFL history of any running back. Keep in mind, he only played only took 103 totes last year. Say he does take 200 totes this year, but one of the issues that people are concerned about is he is undersized.
Yes.
He doesn't have a ton of muscle. He got banged up last year quite a bit. I I think he had a rib injury, among other things. But if Devon Achane can get, say, 150 to 175 carries, run for, say, 1,200, 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns, let's say, and make 50 catches for 400 or 500 yards and 5-6 touchdowns, I think Devon Achane, for the most part, is just as good as someone like, has as much upside as Bijan Robinson, if not more, because this dude has breakaway speed. But not only that, he has the weapons around him that defenses have to stay honest with.
Yeah.
You can't leave Tyreek Hill. Let's be honest. You cannot leave Tyreek Hill on an island with your best cornerback. You cannot leave Jalen Waddle on an island with the other cornerback. Tua Tagovailoa has a heck of an arm. Ish. Let's look. This is a big time offense.
Yeah, I agree.
Bottom line, this is a big time offense. Devon Achane, it's a $60 card, but realistically, this dude has the talent to legitimately be the best running back in the NFL. He could have a year like that. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if this dude ran for 1,600 yards, 15, 16 touchdowns. I just would not be surprised. What are your thoughts on Devon Achane?
He's not their number one running back, though, is the issue. Raheem Mostert.
No, he is their number one running back.
Have they declared that?
Devon Achane.
Because
Raheem Mostert spells. They were in a timeshare last year.
Because Mostert is more of your sledgehammer type. We need to get a couple tough yards, first down. Let's hand it off. Let's try to pick up some yards and keep the defense honest.
Right.
Achane, or Achane, I've heard it both ways, like you said, is your home run hitter. He's your change of pace. And he's not really he's a change of pace because he doesn't really have different speeds. He's a sprinter. He's unbelievably fast. You get him out in the flat, and Tua tries to float him one. If he gets it, he's gone. Much like a lot of their offense. I just would be worried about, split carries with Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, but
which I saw a lot from them last year. So if they're changing their philosophy, then I'm right there with you.
Yes, but they split the carries last year, and yet Devon Achane was still by points, yardage, averages, the best running back statistically in the NFL.
You did say the 11 games played. He's listed at 5'9", so he's probably not 5'9".
5'8.5".
I'm worried about, obviously, a D tackle sitting on him, and then he explodes. So,
but look, $60 compared to like $160 for Bijan. I think there's too much upside on Achane. I really do.
I'll also if I'm going to criticize Tua 2 weeks ago, I just don't think the Dolphins' offense is going to show up when you need it to.
Yeah, but let's be honest. Miami's defense sucks enough where they're going to need to push the ball downfield, and they're going to need to get the ball to their explosive hands. And at the end of the day, Achane is the explosive guy. He just is.
Yeah.
He just is. And you look in the preseason, they're starting to line Achane up as a receiver as well now.
I believe that.
So look, I still think the sky's the limit for Achane. I'm totally fine buying a $60 silver PSA 10 of this kid, but we're going to move to our next invest card, and that is CJ Stroud, of course, quarterback for the Houston Texans. His 2023 Prism Silver, also in a PSA 10, is down 18.3% over the past month. It is now an $813 card. That was a $932 card a month ago, and $1,000+ during the season. One of the best rookie seasons ever. 4,100 yards, 23 touchdowns, 5 picks with a 100 quarterback rating. Rushed for 3 TDs as well. This is a guy who unlocked Nico Collins. Tank Dell is going to be back at the beginning of this year healthy. They added Joe Mixon. They added Stephon Diggs. Let's compare CJ Stroud at $800 and what did I say? $813. $813 for CJ Stroud's silver PSA 10. $2,000 for Joe Burrow's silver PSA 10 rookie card. $1,100 for Justin Herbert's, $700 for Jalen Hurts, $500 for Tua. CJ is sitting just above Hurts, but below Herbert. And he added probably the two biggest, in my opinion, probably the two biggest offensive additions of any team outside of maybe the Ravens acquiring Derrick Henry. I think that CJ's cards were a little too high before, but at this price, I can get behind it. What are your thoughts on CJ Stroud?
Love him. I mean, he's amazing. So yeah, get in on the CJ Stroud hype train while you can. My thing is, I've learned in the NFL, if you're signing a free agent, there's generally a reason they're a free agent, though.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the talent truly does come from your drafting or trading more so than not. So adding Joe Mixon doesn't do a ton for me. Stephon Diggs, I'm guessing there's a reason the Bills were fine letting him go. Obviously, contract, a big part of that. But I also still think CJ Stroud is that good. Yeah. So worried about a potential sophomore slump in a first-place schedule because their schedule was a cakewalk last year.
Yeah.
But I still think he's still that good.
Yeah. I mean, here's my thought with it. CJ Stroud at $813.
Yeah.
Let's put that whole package together. Stroud, Mixon, Diggs, Collins, Tank, Dell. You can buy that package for $813 in that division.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, let's be honest, not a very strong division.
No, they should make the playoffs. So
or would you spend $1,100 on Justin Herbert and
Quentin Johnson?
Who else is around him? Josh Palmer?
No, I do believe in Herbert. I really do.
No, Herbert's a great quarterback, but he doesn't have the pieces. He's in a tough division.
Oh, yeah.
I think CJ's...
Harbaugh effect?
I really think down this much... I'm surprised CJ is down this much, to be honest with you. And that's why I think CJ's a buy personally. But let's move to our last invest ? Segment card of the day, and that's Jamar Chase, Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver. His 2021 absolute kaboom in a PSA 9 was down 18.6% over the past year. The last sale of the card was $700. I actually have one. It's not out right now. But we had it on the show, I think, last week. 2023 had 100 catches for 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns. He played his last 7 games without Joe Burrow. And in those 7 games, 6 of those 7 games, he had less than 5 receptions. Of course, Jake Browning was the quarterback during that time. But it's not like Jake Browning was just not throwing it. Jake Browning was throwing between 30 and 40 times a game.
Right.
Just not to Jamar Chase. But Joe Burrow is healthy this year. In games with Joe Burrow last year, Jamar Chase had games of 141 yards, 192 yards, and 3 touchdowns, 100 yards and a touchdown, 124 yards and a touchdown. He had 6 of his 7 touchdowns last year with Burrow. And let's remember his rookie year with Burrow was the greatest rookie wide receiver year in history. It seems like every year there's a new rookie that comes in and sets the new record. But he had 1,400 yards and 13 TDs as a rookie.
That's crazy.
With Joe Burrow. I think Jamar Chase is in for a huge year. And let's remember, he is seeking to become the highest paid receiver by 1 penny. Right? Over Justin Jefferson.
And CD Lamb just got a new deal, too.
And CD just got a big lamb.
He did get a big lamb.
He did get a big lamb. CD just got a big deal as well. I think Jamar Chase is a buy right now. I really do. I think he's going to have a huge year. I think his kabooms in a PSA 9, I think this is a $1,000 card come mid-season. That's just me. What are your thoughts on Jamar Chase?
He's unbelievable. And as long as Joe Burrow's there and they have the LSU connection...
Yeah,
I'm all for that. I know you were frustrated with Jamar Chase and like his way of going about things, but that's a different conversation for a different time. On the field, the speed is electric. The hands are great. The connection and the IQ with his QB obviously goes back to their days down in Baton Rouge.
Right.
Jamar Chase all day. I take him over CD Lamb. I probably don't take him over Justin Jefferson, but it's 1A and 1B. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
they're going to lose T. Higgins, though, at some point, and then it gets interesting.
At some point, but T. Higgins is healthy to start this year, which is a big deal.
This year, Jamar Chase is going to go huge.
For this year, guys, Jamar Chase, I'm telling you, he's going to have a massive year. And I really think just cards-wise, you're picking up a Jamar Chase Kaboom for $700.
Yeah.
Like, you are not going to be, in my opinion, you are really not going to be disappointed come week 6, week 7, week 8 when Jamar Chase is roasting corners and Joe Burrow is throwing for like 300 yards, 3 touchdowns every single game, because that's where the talent is. They have that sort of talent, and it will show this year. But that will wrap things up for us here at the Hollywood Rip Studio for the Cardboard Critics Sports Card Podcast. Thanks for joining us as always. Remember, if you liked the show, don't forget to drop a comment down below. We'd love to hear from you. A like and a subscribe would be greatly appreciated as well, as we continue to try and build a little bit of steam. Don't forget to hit the notification bell as well if you want to be alerted as to our next episode. So until next time, I'm Mr. Hollywood, that's Joe Nasty, and we are out.